God said, "Let's make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over the livestock and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." God created man in his own image. In God's image he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them. God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Genesis chapter 1, World English Bible. Chapter 5 of Frankenstein is all about creation. But whilst God sees what he has created and sees that it's good, look at the language Frankenstein uses. Catastrophe, wretch, horrid, disgust, and miserable. Frankenstein even says that he is unable to endure the aspect of the being I had created. He's far from being a proud father. It's a real contrast to, of course, with the way that Victor's parents greeted his arrival as a baby. Remember chapter 1? My mother's tender caresses and my father's smile of benevolent pleasure while regarding me are my first recollections. Victor's irresponsibility as a father and the horrific consequences of his meddling attempt to play God and push the boundaries of science too far are seen everywhere in this chapter. The chapter starts with Shelley creating a sympathetic background. This means that the setting is described to mirror the bleakness and horror of what is to come. Everything is described in a negative way. First of all, it's night time. It's 1 a.m. It's a dreary night of November. Note the use of the adjective dreary and the significance of November, a month often associated with dark, cold, wintry nights. And if anything, a month you might link to death or an ending as it comes near the end of the year. We're going to witness a birth, a creation, but when we're told that the rain pattered dismally against the panes and my candle was nearly burnt out, the dark and gloomy mood that Shelley is creating leaves us in no doubt that it's not going to be a moment of joy. Have a skim through and look at all the abstract nouns describing emotions on the first couple of pages of this chapter. You can do this throughout Frankenstein, but look at it in this chapter. You get anxiety, agony, horror, disgust, agitation. Shelley sustains this use of sympathetic background throughout the first chapter. In the middle, she tells us of a black and comfortless sky, and it's only once he's been nursed back to health by his friend Clerval that he perceived that the fallen leaves had disappeared and that the young buds were shooting forth from the trees that had shaded my window. But let's go back to the night of the creation of the monster. As he throws himself on his bed, Victor has horrific nightmares as he tries to sleep. Shelley uses these dreams to foreshadow the fate of Elizabeth, a consequence of Victor's actions, of course. As he dreams of Elizabeth and plants a kiss on her lips, she becomes the corpse of his dead mother. And it says he saw the grave worms crawling in the folds of the flannel, the burial shroud wrapped around her body. It's grotesque, and it's typical of the Gothic style of the novel, and it's meant to shock us. It's meant to point towards how unnatural Victor's accomplishment is. Victor has created a being, but dreams of death. He set out to create life, but has created the very opposite. It's as if he has created death and horror. Horror, a word repeated so many times in this chapter. Perhaps it's even significant that he dreams of women. He dreams of his mother, the woman who gave birth to him, and of his wife-to-be, the woman who could have given birth to his children. But as he plants that kiss, he's confronted with an image not of birth, but of death, a worm-riddled, decomposing corpse, a reminder that he shouldn't be trying to create life himself. He's done the unnatural and will pay the price. And if we're in any doubt about whether Victor is going to accept any responsibility for his actions, they seem to be answered when he returns to his apartment with Clerval. He says, "I threw the door forcibly open, as children are accustomed to do when they expect a spectre to stand in waiting for them on the other side. but nothing appeared. I stepped fearfully in. The apartment was empty and my bedroom was also freed from its hideous guest. I clapped my hands for joy and ran down to Clerval. Look at the simile. He's acting like a child, flinging the door open in case there's a ghostie there. He lacks courage, fails to take responsibility, and as he claps his hand like an excited toddler, Shelley seems to me to be emphasising just how self-centred, immature and reckless he is. There's some irony in Victor's name, of course. A victor is a winner, someone who overcomes obstacles and achieves something. At the very beginning of the chapter, Victor tells us, "I beheld the accomplishment of my toils." His accomplishment, though, is hardly a victory. In fact, it will bring him loss, defeat, and death, over and over again. The full title of the novel is Frankenstein, a Modern Prometheus, linking our scientists to the Greek myth in which Prometheus stole fire from the gods but was punished by Zeus by being tied to a rock. Every day, a giant eagle comes to eat his liver, which miraculously renews itself overnight. Every day, Prometheus suffers in agony over and over and over again. Does that sound familiar, Victor?